Right. The next is Te Pātaka o Rākaihautū, Banks Peninsula Community Board Chair Tori Peden, who is submitting on the draft annual plan, but also the proposal for a new policy on Māori freehold land.
Morena.
If you're comfortable, you can take your mask off, but you don't have to.
Yep,
Yeah.
no, that'd be good. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for giving us this time. The board thanks the council for allocations in the 2022-2023 financial year to prioritise Kakarārata drinking water project. The new water supply is a vital project for O'Kane's Bay community as well, and the campground remains a high priority for the board. So keeping that as a priority going forward and not pushing it out further, we do understand the delays with deliverability. The board thanks the council for the additional $1 million added to the upgrading of the Banks Peninsula wastewater treatment systems. These systems are so important to avoid pollution and to preserve the environment in which they stand. The board's submission for flood mitigation was to be informed by the community hui, which unfortunately has been continually delayed due to COVID. The board will be convening the hui as soon as practical. And would ask council to support any flood mitigation works that can help the control of flooding within Little River. Upkeep and maintenance of the public toilets in the peninsula is also crucial, given the number of visitors in various areas and the number of ageing toilets that are still to be renewed. I would like to thank the council for reallocating funds to help ensure that Akaroa Museum can continue to serve its community, school groups, national and overseas visitors as guardians of our history, heritage and local culture. The board is also happy to see the reinstatement of funding for the Little Harbour Information Centre that will help provide support for Little residents and visitors, especially with the upcoming season of cruise ships. We also want to thank the council for retaining the funding for Naval Point Development Plan, with SailGP now confirmed to Little Harbour in March 2023. The work to complete the redevelopment plan will be crucial in ensuring the success of this and future SailGP events. Transport. The board is pleased to see the retention of this funding for the rural roads. The recent Eastern Bays Storm event demonstrated how crucial these lifeline roads are for our remote communities. The board has asked for some creative thinking to try and connect Littleton via the transport alternatives, such as cycling to the greater Christchurch area. I do understand these conversations are ongoing with ECAN. And that's us in a wee nutshell today. There's some big projects going on, but we understand that these are all happening, and we understand that funding is.
This is ignorance on my part, so always dangerous. As a lawyer, you get told that you should never ask a question that you don't know the answer to. But I don't know the answer to. Where's that line between flooding issues in Little River, council versus ECAN?
That's the $1 million question. I know.
It's a multi-million dollar
It is a multi-million dollar question. I know with the flooding ratings district, we've done a lot of work with ECAN, and the community have put in extra funding for ratings to help clear the willows and stuff out of the rivers. However, there's land drainage work going in around the main hub of Little River, which is broken pipes and other drainage effects. But this is a bigger picture thing. I mean, it involves NZTA as well, because there's a bridge involved. The low-lying nature of the area and the basin effect of having the catchment. So there is multiple areas, and I think that's what we need to have these conversations going forward. Yes, there is money going in budget for land drainage. There has been work done which has made huge improvements to the rivers. However, it's obviously still happening. What does it look like in the future when we have more of these events? So it's one to continue the discussion with ECAN. It's a hard one. I'm sorry, Lee, and I don't have the answers either. I know I've been
like a joined up approach, but is
very
there
much
sea
so.
level rise component to this as well?
Not necessarily, no, because from what I understand, Bedling's Flat is already 4 metres above sea level, whereas the lake is about sea level. However, the relationship between the ocean and the lake are also different because, of course, that does close
So
on
it's
its
the
natural course.
increased storm events that's really your priority there.
Yeah, and it's weather events. I mean, look at what's happening all around the peninsula. So that is ongoing discussions to be had with our communities and even the council as to what that looks like going forward.
Yeah, no, thank you. I've got Aaron and then Phil.
Yeah, sorry, I may have missed it, but do you have a start date for the cruise ship returns?
From what we understand, loosely October.
Okay.
Andrew might have more information than I do, but that's the indications we've got at this stage should the government open, to cruise ships. But that's what
Yeah,
ECAN
because I
informed us the
thought
other
that
day.
was the issue at the moment. They haven't greenlit them yet, and of course, if you leave it too long, there's no bookings. So
ECAN already have the bookings, so we've been speaking with ECAN and the harbour master, and they already have the bookings in place for when the green light goes ahead.
Right.
Obviously, they'll all be concreted in, but from what I understand, October
or cancelled, whichever way.
or cancelled depending on what the government does. But obviously, you've got to put consents in for ECAN and harbour masters to bring those cruise ships in. So at the moment, they've got them
That's
Oh,
for
great.
Upper
That's good
Rise,
to-
but the same for Littleton.
for Littleton as well. Andrew, I mean, you might have more information than I do
Yeah,
for
there
Littleton.
are bookings expected. Well, there are bookings in there for Littleton, but yeah, assuming we get the government green light.
So
October.
has
Then deal with this at the annual plan. Can we get an update for your next report to council? Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
And that's literally I think next week. So perhaps
is.
you could gather a little bit of information through your governance team and come back to council next week.
or CNZ?
Eh?
CNZ might chime in as well.
Sorry?
CNZ.
Might chime in.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
You said Christchurch and
Christchurch NZ might chime in as well and have an update to add to it.
Oh, okay. Okay,
yeah.
that's fine. Phil.
yeah, thanks, Tori. Could you just give me a wee update? With all the flooding around Little River, is it predominantly because the lake is high, and is the lake open to the? It's not. It's all.
So the information we've been given over time, it is perceived that the lake is high, and that causes the backlog.
But no.
However, there's evidence to show that even with lower lake levels,
You've still
the waterways still have got to try and capture a huge amount of water. So even though we've cleared the waterways and therefore it's going out, there are still pinch points. So there's a bridge at Kinloch, rather by the state highway, that technically is a state highway bridge. I'm not sure how that works, but that's a bit of a pinch point. And there's a few other things going on, but no, we have got technical information coming back to say that the lake level doesn't necessarily affect the
Excellent,
flooding.
thank you. And just, I should know it, but I don't. The O'Kane's Bay water thing, is roughly how much is that off the top of your head? Do you know?
No, the last numbers I got heard was a couple of million, between 1 and 2 sort of thing. But yeah, no, that's been worked through and
Thank
reasons for
you.
that.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for Tori? No one online? Look, thank you very much for your presentation this morning. It's much appreciated. And